Phoenix and across the country. Today, we will honor Mr. Roland Campbell and Mr. Clovis Campbell and the Arizona Informant newspaper. If there is anything I've received from the importance of living history in Clovis Campbell and Roland Campbell, is that the present should be documented so that we look back on it with reverence and look with it with pride in the future. That is what makes history. What we're doing this morning will certainly be an amazing part in African American history and of our community. Roland Campbell is the son of Eleanor and the late Roland Campbell. He grew up in a loving family with 2 sisters and had 1 brother. Mr. Campbell was born in Pennsylvania, where his primary education was spent at Billy, Pennsylvania Elementary School. In 1968, he and his family made the big move to Phoenix, Arizona, where he attended 7th and 8th grade at Percy L. Julian School. Mr. Campbell graduated from East High School, where he had excellent academic and became an outstanding sports figure in football, track, and basketball. He won numerous basketball awards and led his team to state championships during his senior year. After high school, he attended college at Seattle Pacific University on a 4-year basketball scholarship, where he still holds records for outstanding achievements. Jaton Booker will now share Mr. Roland Campbell's current years. Thank you.
Roland Campbell Jr. is a loving father of 3 children. Antone is an aspiring pro golfer. Christian works for Coca-Cola in Texas, and his daughter Aaliyah is an administrator for a community college in California. He is also the grandfather of Khalees and Cameron. Even though his children have pursued other careers, Mr. Campbell hopes that one day he will join the newspaper like him. His advice to the youth is to be true to themselves and treat everyone with dignity and respect. The same people you see going up the ladder will be the same people you see going down. As a distresser, Mr. Campbell has abandoned his former basketball life and now enjoys the calming sport of golf. Roland Campbell Jr. has been the CEO and co-publisher of the Arizona Informant for 9 years. He has worked in the family business for 28 years. He is in charge of the business side. His job is to maintain the paper by looking at advertising and finding new ways to make money. He said that advertising, marketing, sales are the bloodline of the newspaper. He thinks about all of this every night before work. It is how he plans his next day. After his daily cup of morning coffee, he is off analyzing how the newspaper can prosper more financially. An idea he has looked into is the use of social media. He explained that social media is growing exponentially during this time. However, even though it is a good source, it is very costly. Things like this is what Roland Campbell is in charge of at the Arizona Informant. He is always analyzing ways to make and save money to keep the newspaper successful. This is very important to him because he believes they have an obligation to Arizona to tell the truth about the Black community. Now Alicia will speak about Clovis Campbell, the co-owner of Arizona Informant.
Clovis Campbell, son of Juanita and Clovis Campbell Sr., was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. He went to Sheraton Park Elementary School, which is now known as Martin Luther King Elementary School. Mr. Campbell is a man of the Christian faith. He grew up in Tanner Chapel, African Methodist Episcopal Church, where he married his wife of 25 years, Lynette Campbell. Following his days in Martin Luther King Elementary School, Mr. Campbell went to Julian for junior high. He attended East High School, where he played basketball and football. Because of his strong academics and extracurricular activities, Mr. Campbell went to Pitzer College in Claremont, California. While at Pitzer College, Mr. Campbell participated in the largest televised rally against President Reagan, protesting the American involvement in the Vietnam War. Pitzer is known for their fight against social injustice, which seems quite fitting for a Black man who has a love for pushing the social boundaries. Following his father's footsteps, Mr. Campbell is the current co-owner of the Arizona Informant. He also was on the state legislature for 2 terms, along with being the Director of African American Affairs under Governor Doug Ducey. Because of his outstanding work in the Arizona Informant, He is the president of the National Association of Black Newspapers. Mr. Campbell is very family-oriented. He has 2 kids, a 22-year-old daughter named Shantae, who is currently attending ASU, and Shantae has a 1-year-old son. Mr. Campbell also has a son named Trey, who plays football at Georgia State University. Trey is interested in acting and is studying it at Georgia State University. In his free time, Mr. Campbell loves to golf. He no longer plays basketball. He has decided to retire from the game. Mr. Campbell loves to travel. You can find him in many areas around the world. Mr. Campbell frequently visits Africa, where he absorbs information about the roots of Black culture. One of his favorite things about traveling is that he never knows whom he is going to run into or meet. Mr. Campbell shares many words of wisdom with us. However, the advice he gave to African American youth is the one that we found most impactful. He advises to finish your education and learn your Black history. The youth should correct people on false facts. He told us a story on how some textbooks say that Africans came to America in search for work. How not only did we come voluntarily, but that we also chose to work in the fields because that's what suited our skills the best. As if we chose to enslave ourselves. Those textbooks couldn't be more wrong. Mr. Campbell tells us to educate ourselves so that we can stop ignorance like this. I would now like to introduce Sterling Leverett.
Hello, I am Sterling Leverett. Let me tell you one thing, Black Lives Matter. Even though that slogan is a new occurrence, it was just as relevant for Clovis C. Campbell Sr. and Dr. Charles Campbell, who created the Arizona Informant to report the countless positive stories and events about the African American community. Those same stories were overlooked by the other Arizona newspapers. The Arizona Informant is a strictly African American newspaper, started in 1971 with the rights for the name being purchased by Clovis Campbell Sr. for $1. Although he worked for another newspaper called the Arizona Sun, he wanted to have his own because he realized something was missing in the Black community. As a result, they published newspapers weekly with a commitment so strong that they sometimes paid for the publication out of their own pocket. It is very difficult to talk about the Arizona Informant without talking about their co-founders and their history. Clovis Campbell Sr. was the first African American in the Arizona Senate. He served in the legislature for 10 years. He often recalled that many newspapers only talked about African Americans getting into trouble. As a result of his commitment to the community, later he was honored by having a school named after him. His mission was to tell the good news about his community. Dr. Charles Campbell was a longtime educator, earning his master's degree in public administration and his doctorate in higher education administration. They overcame the struggle and they ultimately persevered. Today, the newspaper is run by Clovis Campbell Jr. and his cousin, Roland Campbell. They carry on the legacy by continuing to print the news for our community. And now, Bailey Benton on today's actions.
The Arizona Informant is influencing the next generation of readers and writers by producing weekly and current print media. The Arizona Informant has made it their priority to stay active and current in the African American community. For 45 years, the Arizona Informant has not missed a weekly issue, reporting on the lives and events of the Black community since 1971. They have had over 2,300 weekly issues of the paper. The Arizona Informant was present when Martin Luther King Day was made an official holiday in Phoenix, Arizona. It was present when President Barack Obama became the first Black president of the United States. Present when the president led thousands across the Edmund Pettus Bridge for its 50th anniversary of Selma to Montgomery. It has been present honoring African American students, community, and religious leaders in the Phoenix area. Social media has become their challenge of the decade. Online readers read the newspaper but do not comment or share opinions. This challenge is shared amongst all newspapers. As the digital age is upon us, it is becoming harder and harder for newspapers to survive. Clovis Campbell stated it best: "We live in a generation of people who want everything now." As the Arizona Informant continues to tell the truth, stories and perspectives of Black individuals, something greatly underrepresented in mainstream media. Their place in our community will remain very relevant. On to Jada with the future of the Arizona Informant.
Good morning. My name is Jada Sims, and I will be talking about the future goals for the Arizona Informant. The owners of the Informant, Clovis and Roland Campbell, have many aspirations to grow, inspire, and to spread their newspaper. Expanding their reach and increasing their readers includes staying focused on their base readership of the African American community, but also reaches out to non-African Americans so they will understand social issues from another perspective. You should always plan for future opportunities. You never know what might happen or who might come into your life. It is often said that good luck happens when opportunity meets preparation, and that is just what the Arizona Informant does. To transmit positive, informative, and true news. These are the three main goals for the Arizona Informant. They want to be a trusted, reliable source for the community. They don't just want to be a news source, but also to encourage the community to learn more about our culture and engage themselves in public service. Some advice I was to never give up on our goals, to always pursue your passions, because in the end, you always want to be happy. Our group had the opportunity to visit Mr. Clovis Campbell and Roland Campbell in their office. Something that really stuck in my mind was this quote from Mr. Roland. If you have your goals set, do not let anything derail you from achieving those goals. Thank you.
Before we end, I would like to leave you with the Black Press Creed, something that the Arizona Informant lives by. Hating no person, fearing no person. The Black Press strives to help every person in the firm belief that all are hurt as long as anyone is held back. Thank you, Mr. Roland Campbell and Mr. Clovis Campbell.
At this time, would Mr. Roland and Clovis Campbell join us at the podium so that we may congratulate you? On behalf of the Phoenix chapter of Jack and Jill and America Inc., the Phoenix chapter of the Wings Incorporated, and the Gamma Mu Buea Phoenix, it is my honor to present this 2016 Living History Award to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. I'm waiting for a coffin to come out now. This is very impressive, very impressive. The children, the youth did such a great job, and I just want to say a couple of things. First, I want to thank all of the organizations, the Lynx, Jack and Jill, and the Boulay for this honor. It's a privilege to be able to cover news and talk about things that you do in the community because you're so important. Most of the people, as I look down the roster, I know most of them in the organization, so I'm proud to receive this award, as Roland is as well. He's out of town today, and the rest of my family is out doing other Black History programs, so this is really important. Just a couple of quick things I want to say. I know they've done a lot, and they did a lot of research. I mean, I'm really impressed with what they've done. Hopefully I can hire a couple of them if I can afford them later on. You know, the Black history is so important to us, and it's so important that this organization continues to do what they're doing and bringing young people to learn about Black history. I asked one student, not any of these, but some others, I asked them, what do you know about Black history? And the movie Race, which is out right now, which talks about Jesse Owens, I said, who knows who Jesse Owens is? The young man stood up proudly, raised his hand. He said, he's the Black man that ran for president and runs Rainbow Push. I said, that's close, but not quite where we want to go. And I asked another kid, I said, well, let me find something a little less serious. I said, who knows who Red Fox is? Another girl raised her hand and said, that's Jamie Foxx's grandfather. I said, incredible. We really have to do a job to teach our young people about Black history. And it's important that we continue to do so. I just want to say that it's important that we do this. This is important that our kids are here involved in the process. And the 11 years, we want to see at least another 30 years of you doing this program. Remember, the Arizona Informant not only prints Black history, but we record Black history every week. Every time we write a story, take a picture, put your name in the paper, nobody else is going to do that, and that's going down in history as a record of what you and these organizations have done to make sure that the African American community is supported in a positive manner. I would be remiss if I didn't say a couple of things. Make sure if you don't have your subscription, get one today. It's only $30. And secondly, we're also doing the Arizona Black Rodeo next weekend. It's a historical opportunity to learn about Black cowboys and their participation in Black history. So if you want to see me afterwards, I got tickets for $10. And finally, my friend Dr. Ben Chavis will be here in April to speak to NAACP about at their Freedom Fund dinner. And one thing that he says, which is so important, and I hope you all remember this, and we're celebrating Black History this month, he says the way to celebrate Black history is to go out and make some Black history. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. You guys did a great job. Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Roland Campbell and Mr. Clovis Campbell II. And now I'd like to invite to the stage the second group of presenters that will introduce our next honoree. Interview Team 2 is comprised of Caitlin Card, Blake Carter, Alyssa Jones, Zion Jones, Jamie Smith. They have the honor of presenting Mr. Tremaine Jasper. Caitlin Card is a junior at Westview High School. She will be a debutante in the upcoming 2016 cotillion. Blake Carter is a junior at Pinnacle High School and is also a member with Jack and Jill. Alyssa Jones attends Basis Chandler, where she is a junior. Alyssa is also a member of Jack and Jill and will be a debutante in the upcoming 2016 cotillion. Zion Jones is a freshman at Akabeka Academy Homeschool and is a member of Jack and Jill. Jamie Smith is a freshman at Desert Mountain High School and is also a member of Jack and Jill. 3 of the members on the team are members of Jack and Jill. At this time, would interview Team 2 please join me as a podium.
Hello everyone, my name is Alyssa Jones, and today my group and I will be presenting the wonderful Mr. Tremaine Jasper, who has impact on the media in today's world, especially here in the Valley. Mr. Jasper grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and was an active member in Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, which he really enjoyed going to different events with his Jack and Jill friends. Also, Jack and Jill helped him meet different African Americans in the Valley because not all the African Americans lived in one group together. Mr. Jasper also has a younger sister who at times he didn't get along with, but as they grew older, they became great friends. As a child, Mr. Jasper liked to play sports such as soccer and baseball. He took on the hobby of writing, and it caused him to publish his writing in the school newspaper. His hobby of writing became a passion to him and caused him to look up to other publishers. Some of Tremaine's favorite school subjects were English, science, and physical education. While in junior high, Mr. Tremaine made a friend that he is still friends with today. And in my opinion, that is amazing because he still has someone in his life that he can go to for anything. Mr. Jasper's favorite memory of high school was when he marched with his Jack and Jill teen group to the state capitol to help get Martin Luther King Day a holiday in Arizona, due to the fact that our legislators at the time did not want Martin Luther King Day to be a national holiday, which is something we should stop and think about, because we don't have to deal with this today. This is something that I didn't have to do. I do the march, but it's not as long as what the march used to be. He also attended Thunderbird High School, where he was active in the Black Student Union and he played soccer. At the time, Mr. Jasper was really good at soccer. He was amazing. But when he got to high school, he realized, wow, there's other kids that are also good at soccer. So he had to work hard to keep up with his skills.
Mr. Jasper's college experience began with the New Start program offered at the University of Arizona. It was a summer program that helps incoming freshmen succeed. He was very impressed by the program and he received a scholarship to the U of A. While in college, Mr. Jasper was profoundly impacted by his journalism instructor, Professor Carson. He pushed him hard to become a good writer. Mr. Jasper was also involved in sports and campus organizations. He was a member of the African American Student Alliance. He worked with high school teens to prepare for the transition to college. He was also voted homecoming king by his peers. Mr. Jasper graduated from the U of A with a bachelor's degree in 1995, and he went back to college and graduated from the University of Phoenix with a MBA in global management in 2006. He developed many lasting relationships in college. Mr. Jasper currently owns and operates Phoenix.
On behalf of the Phoenix chapter of Jack and Jill of America, the Phoenix chapter of the Lynx, and the Gamma Mu Boule of Phoenix, it is my honor to present you with a 2016 Living History Award.
So this is very powerful because I am a former member of Jack and Jill, as was mentioned in the presentation, and that was a pivotal time in my life, just being a part of that organization, because growing up here, I wasn't really around a whole lot of African Americans. We grew up in North Phoenix and went to John Jacobs Elementary, Thunderbird High School, where I was one of 5 African American students in my senior class. So Jack and Jill was an amazing opportunity for me to connect with other African American students my age. Really had a fun time just attending events and just learning about our history, and I'm really thankful to the parents who were great role models for all of us. I also want to thank the Lynx and the Boule for sponsoring this event. It's really important. The students that I talked with over the last month or so, they did a great job of asking questions that were important to them, and that was important to me to provide information that would be impactful, not only for now, but for the future. We talked earlier about connecting links, and I've got a lot of connecting links in this room. The Campbell family, for example, they gave me my first job in journalism with the Arizona Informant, and it was an important time for me because people would see my name in the bylines above the stories, and they would feel like I was a person that was important to the community, to connect them with information that they needed. And that was kind of like the, I'm trying to think of the word here. That was that introduction to doing what I do now. So with PhoenixSoul.com, I've taken what I've learned from the Informant, my journalism classes at the University of Arizona, my experiences with Arizona Republic and other newspapers in the Valley, and turn that into a website where everyone can get information on a daily basis about what's going on in the Black community. So I hope that you all will, visit the website if you haven't already. Constantly updating it, and I have to thank my wife and my son for allowing me to take the time each night to, update the site, because it takes a lot of work to keep that up. Not only just posting information on the site, but getting advertising, which is the lifeblood of our media. If you're reading these newspapers and reading these websites, and you own a business, or you're submitting information, please, find it in your hearts to dig deep in your budgets and pay the media outlets for the work that they're doing to help you be successful. So, that's my advice to the crowd. Again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, or coming out this morning. I want to thank the students for doing such a wonderful job. Please give them a hand. They did a great job. And I get emotional with stuff like this, so I was in my seat teary-eyed just looking at my history, so getting teary-eyed now. But again, just thank you for this award. It means a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Tremaine Jasper. And now I'd like to invite to the stage the group of presenters that will introduce our next honoree. Interview Team 3 is comprised of Malia Cobb, Naomi Hudson, Tyler Kaiser, Ann Okra, and Jaden West. We have the honor of presenting Mrs. Paula Moore. Malia Cobb is a senior at Sandra Day O'Connor High School. She will be a debutante in the 2016 Cotillion and is team president of Jack and
At this time, will Mrs. Paula Moore please join us at the podium so that we may congratulate you. On behalf of the Phoenix chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, the Phoenix chapter of the Lynx Incorporated, and the Gamma Mu Ballet of Phoenix, it is my honor to present this 2016 Living History Award to you.
Thank you. I am so honored. First, all glory to God. This is an incredible award, and I just look at it and I'm like amazed. I'd like to thank my mom and dad. I'd like to thank the community of Phoenix. Phoenix is, you cannot work in a vacuum. You have to have partnerships. You have to have friends. You have to network, as you said. It's important. And over the 20 plus years that I've been here, I have had to do that. I have loved doing that, and I appreciate all of the partnerships that I've formed with the Informant, with the Black Board of Directors Project, with Deltas, with all of the groups that I've worked with. That means so much to me. I just want you to know that even though I've done a lot, I am still excited and happy to do more. So if you know of good stories that I can approach, I'm always open to new stories, new ideas, new things that we need to be focusing on as a people. So feel free to contact me about that, okay? Because that's important to me. The struggle's not over. We have to always continue to work at it and to approach life as a family. And that's important. That's really important. And I'm so happy that the Lynx, Jack and Jill, and Boulay are working towards that goal. Thanks so much for this, and thanks for the wonderful, inspirational teams that are involved in the project as well. Thank you.